Hi, I'm Gary Allen. Today we take you on the road. Welcome to the clay soils of North Georgia. Now, today there are two things that will influence the project. Number one, the architecture of the home. Secondly, we're in plant climate zone 6, and that will have every influence on the material that we choose for today's designer's landscape. We have got a major slope from the garage or driveway all the way down here to where the property line meets. And so we need something interesting for that. But drainage is also a major consideration. Now, I came in and met with the homeowner several months ago, and we drew these lines basically to build in a two-step stucco wall that matched the texture and color of their house. And then they repeated these stone little columns that help add so much character. We have begun backfilling here with a combination clay and sand mix, so it'll percolate real good here. We want to go ahead and bring our level up. And I also think something interesting, the contractor who you might meet in a little bit suggested that they go ahead and put the stonework over the existing sidewalk as well. Visually, we go from the steps to now what's continuous here and our steps down to the front yard. We get to show you that maybe from the front again, and I think it's a good move. We've got some irrigation to kind of revamp now that the big rotors were in here, and with our wall to help for drainage, we were going to come in with a few sprays and kind of handle that situation. A few plants to maybe use and move around, but the bulk of the work is out here in the front. As we pull you back, you can really see the intensity of the slope and the angle. In the background, Jody Smith is working with us as our local contractor. We'll be able to catch up with him in a minute. As you can see too, what I like about the wall design here is it not only ties in with the original texture and color of the home, but it takes on an interesting bed shape by itself. Now, what we will not do is come in and mimic that same shape. We want to use it as an accent, but I almost picture a thumb bed coming in here. So we'll see how that develops later. You can also see the steps from this angle. Most people would just have a solid wall. You know, I thought the steps, for maintenance purposes and creating a little more interest, add a great appeal, doesn't it? And a break in the wall with the accent of the columns. I begin drawing some bed lines closer to you toward the street. You'll notice one thing interesting about this bed, the big rock. I'm not sure that it was brought in for initial art. I think it was a leftover. And a modest effort made with plants on the back side with just turf coming underneath it, which does show it more. Now, rather than spend dollars and money chopping this up or getting a big piece of equipment to move it, let's use it. And I really start in the background here with a bed line. What we're going to do is encompass the whole rock, you see, with plant material, so that it'll make a little more sense visually. And I'll cross over the sidewalk here. Maybe with a line, something like that. I want to kind of match up. Now, I don't know if you can see red, yellow, and two oranges for cable, phone, power, and all that. We'll have to be careful here, but I think taking this from high maintenance to a low maintenance ground cover, it'll make sense. As I enter the front yard, everything slopes down here. Matter of fact, there's a city culvert that acts as a drain between the neighbors and our property also. The Laura Pedalum is doing a job of kind of screening that. And so let's use that as a back line. We'll come up, touching or kind of picking up this pole, and on the back side we do a little neighbor thing that'll match up to it, but the pole kind of goes away, and then I curve all the way toward the street again, hopping over the walk. Now let's work close to the wall. I've got an existing bed here that seems to work so far. Another reason why I don't want to take off too much turf here is erosion and the working of having to traffic around here to the back right part of the side of the house or the property. So we'll keep this line as far out as it is now. I like the way it comes in and bumps the base of the steps right here. But now's where we begin to cheat into the wall and come out towards you. So I'm going to pick up off the edge of the steps here and kind of bend around. Now what I've done as an earmark or a marker, because I don't want to make a mistake, is I've dropped a flag here, any point, a rock or something that will give me as an idea or a radius to work toward or work around. So let's see how that works. I think this needs to be at least big enough to make an impression. So we'll come down here and rob some of the grass, making a nice accent bed. We may put a tree in there, lower plants and ground covers that give us our color and our contrast. All right, don't know how it looks from up there, but I'm beginning to get the flow of things. With the wall and the construction, our turf grass here has gone through some drought and punishment because the irrigation has not been turned on or run so much. So I really want to take a break. We'll get the beds cleaned out. Let's get this turf watered and get it healthy. Friends, I'd like to introduce you to the individual who really built the retaining wall here, Jim Marino with Southeastern Masonry. Jim had quite a job here. Tell us about it.
Well, thanks, Gary. We started out with the initial design, which was very loose to say the least.
I think I left you a few lines to work with. I drew the wall and that was it.
And that was it. And we had a real friendly homeowner who was very flexible in the design. And we took the existing stone that was on the house and we carried it throughout the design.
Beautiful job.
We took the sidewalk, put it in a crab orchard stone with a colored mortar, came down this front set of steps. We also used an artistic stone on the columns. We tied it all in.
It ties in with the house, and then this idea or concept really makes the entry come together, huh?
Well, we've got a good central focal point now with the columns and this walkway.
Mm-hmm.
The columns, Gary, were part of the original design, as you know, but we really weren't sure how they were going to work out or the height that they were going to end up being. But we ended up making them all the same height, and it tied it all together. Even these two walls, while you may not be able to tell, they're the same height as well.
Okay, very good. I like too, new steps and old steps. It ties in and looks like it was all put together at the same time.
The steps are beautiful. We used the same type of stone that they had on the original front entranceway, even the artistic stone on the front, to tie it all in together to make it just a uniform look.
Jim, I noticed you've got some drain holes here along this the base of the wall.
The drain holes, Gary, are extremely important in this. The idea of the wall is not just to hold the dirt, but it's to hold the water in. The pressure of the water is far greater than the dirt. And if we get a heavy rain and we don't have the holes in there, the wall will end up cracking and coming down.
I thought you did that for landscape and drainage benefits, but you're talking structural, huh?
No, it is 100% structural. The wall would easily hold the dirt.
Jim, I hope that we can only do your work justice by decorating this in a way that'll be pleasing to you.
The neighbors thought it was done already. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like when everything is completely finished. It's going to look beautiful.
Well, we certainly hope so. Now, why don't we take a trip from our job site and visit a local nursery and see what new plant varieties we can find there. It's nice when a nursery will group similar varieties so you can have choices. I've just come from an azalea house there, the greenhouse that's partially shaded. And don't you love these variegated grasses? Remember how we talked about the architecture of this particular style home would lend itself or warrant certain plant types, and I really don't think that the grasses, as popular as they are getting, serves us right here. So we're probably more of a formal type look, but what's neat, all the pennisetums here grouped together, thick-leafed, thin-leafed, some that grow taller, some that stay dwarf, quite a mixture. Panning over to your right, we see the gold mound spirea, noted for not only its flower, but this beautiful gold color all through the season. Now, every plant has a good and a down part. This is probably deciduous, so since it is, we're probably going to try to keep to the evergreen or those that keep more year-round presentation. But different varieties of spirea can add different colors. Friends, we have found the boxwood section of the nursery. Look at the green mountain boxwood, beautiful color, Alongside it, a dwarf, the dwarf English boxwood. Boy, boxwoods have been used as really a staple in America plantings for centuries, really. And these improved varieties are so interesting. This English boxwood has a bluish green cast to it, and I love the variegated. Nice and tight. But what a beautiful contrast this is. A short leaf means a compact growth habit, basically. These can be tipped or pruned, and they stay low maintenance. They go full sun to part sun or part shade. So it really makes it a staple for landscapes around the country. Another clue that we're getting into northern landscapes are the availability of the dwarf maples. Here, a lace leaf, nice cascading nature. One thing to note too about the boxwood, they can be trimmed into any desired shape. The barberries, or berberis genus, comes in many shapes and colors. You see the gold, the regular green, the burgundy, and the dwarf pygmy is what I like. It stays nice and compact. Again, one thing we may have to think about is that is a deciduous shrub. So in the winter season, it would have really no foliage at all. But gosh, the impact and the color in the warm season makes up for it. Shocking, very exciting are these roses, the bush roses here. Oh, I love that red color. Another classic to American landscapes. Beautiful color. Now, I have made my way unto the shade house, and this will be interesting when we get to the backyard. Remember, the front yard is mostly all sun, really full sun, but in the back we get to make use of some of the hostas as well as some other shade-tolerant plants. It'll be fun to get to that stage. I just love all the variety. You know, there are like over 1,000 varieties of hostas. Look, I kind of prefer the white margin here, how it adds that variegation. Rhododendrons are ever popular as we travel further up north. A nice display of color in the spring, and I have found one here, a new variety that has a burgundy foliage to the flush. This will look good on the color of the house. And I read on the card that it only grows to about a 4-foot overall height, and that is good. So maybe we can use a few of these. Friends, I'd like you to meet the most powerful man here today. That's Jody Smith with J&J Landscape Services. Jody, can't tell you how much we appreciate all your help here. We tackled a pretty good sized project, you think?
Yeah.
You guys have some pretty tough soil to work with.
Yeah, it's real tough. It's rocky and real compacted, and it's just hard to deal with.
What do you recommend as far as a soil amendment? I mean, will we be adding an improved soil here?
Yeah, they make some stuff called Nature's Helper or any kind of organic, real good topsoil. You want to mix it in with your hoe and just blend it in real good with the plant material.
Gotcha. Now, do you recommend even pre-watering before you're digging this clay soil like this?
Yeah, most certainly.
What does that do for the soil, really?
It just loosens it up. It's a lot easier to dig, and it's a lot better. You don't have to get out here with a pick and.
Okay.
It's real.
Otherwise, I guess it's like a brick, hard as bricks,
yeah,
huh?
It's hard as concrete.
Yeah. Tell me about the auger you guys used to dig this hole.
The auger helps out a good bit because you can tell by the soil, it just loosens it up a lot. You don't have these big clumps. And like when you use a shovel or pick, you got the big clumps to deal with. So.
And you usually sometimes end up discarding those, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I see you're working on the rest of the sprinkler adjustment. We added this head, and I know we spent about a day or so just revamping the system. I appreciate your help there.
That's a big thing with this type of soil is it needs to have plenty of water before and after installation.
Very good. Well, I think we're pretty much set. I mean, as far as we get our trees and our plants set up and installed, we've got good coverage thanks to you.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate all your hard work. Of course, I know we're not quite there yet. I guess we're ready to set a few of these big trees. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's time to talk trees. And we have just really 3 varieties, but the Cercis canadensis, this is forest pansy redbud. It's a little wilted right now, but I've chosen it to go up close to the house with the taupe color of the house. I like this plum or purplish color that the foliage has, that new flush of growth. It is deciduous, but we'll have maybe some special lighting for it. Over here to this side, Ilex Burfordi. I mean, you're familiar with a Burford holly shrub. Well, these are shrubs that have been grown for an extended period of time and trimmed into trees. And so they have these clear trunks. We've got 3 of them. I want to place them strategically to make our retaining wall look better. I think digging the holes for these are going to be a major operation in itself. Our initial impact is somewhat registered with the installation of the trees. The Burford hollies, again, they will be green year-round, and can you tell already, if we light those at night, how the impact and the asymmetrical balance will work? I think so. Now, I've got now a Napa Valley rose, this red, beautiful red color. I don't know if you can see the triangle I'm working on here. The ones on the left will push toward the column. The ones up top, toward the right side or your left side of the door, and these other group down here at the bottom. Another asymmetrical triangle for balance. Oh, I just love it when a plan starts to come together. I'll show you what we've installed here so far. Seems to make that first great impact. The needle holly, the glossy green foliage on the backdrop to do 2 things. Get a little taller in here and somewhat soften the wall, but look how it provides a backdrop for the roses. I mean, this red with the glossy green background is perfect. Then I've started in with the green mountain boxwood, beautiful color. And I mean, this is kind of a classic. Since they're so topiaried and somewhat individual, I brought them all the way around the top of the wall. And as you walk around, you'll see too that the movement of the bed line and the movement of the plant material, as well as the accent wall curving in the background, is starting to again move us. As you get around the tree here, just having these trees in too make all the difference in the world. But you'll be able to reverse angle now and see some things we've done. Very excited about this blue star juniper and the rich deep slate blue color it has with the red roses. I think that's kind of classic. Again, we know this is going to stay low. The red roses, even with the stonework and all at the corner of the wall, beautiful. The concept was to kind of wind this up. So see, it steps up inside there and rolls down here. You know, sometimes through the hustle and bustle of a project, you just need to sit down and relax and enjoy it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. But I invite you back here for another Designer's Landscape. Until then, I'm Gary Allen. I'll see you soon.